Yo, yo, yo. How awesome was that to actually go to that dump that they call the swamp and just absolutely stomp those Florida Gators. That was absolutely amazing. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm ecstatic.
Billy Napier, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. You're gonna be over there coaching in the Chinese football league after next week. God damn.
And look what we got down here. Look at Slim Shady Canes coming out all just totally dressed up tonight. I love it. I love this. What's up, Slim? How you doing?
Oh, it is a great and glorious day.
I got to full screen you. Just go on ahead and I know that thing's probably hot, so while you got it on, go on ahead and just take over, Slim.
Take over. See, I can't take over because Miami already took over. Not only did they take over Miami, but they took over Canesville. They took over the stadium. And they did what we've all been waiting since 2016 for. The swamp has been drained.
I like it. Is that? I mean, you don't have any more trash talking.
I'm honestly, I kind of feel bad for him at this point. I mean, I'm starting to actually, after that absolute beating, I found a little remorse in my heart.
You found remorse for a Florida Gator?
You have a heart?
Yeah.
Hey, you have a heart? Yeah,
hey, I'm call me the new Grinch of Miami. It grew 3 sizes bigger during the course of that absolute beating. Borderline child abuse.
Yeah, that was
animal abuse. Bad. Animal abuse, actually.
There you go. Animal abuse. Yeah, animal abuse, child abuse. I mean, how they weren't all taken out of there in chains, Mario along with them, I don't know. But like everything else, we get away with it and go on about our day.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. They were like, is Miami going to be able to handle the noise? Is Miami going to be able to handle? I heard these clowns talking about we weren't going to be able to handle the humidity. It's like they were like, oh, that northern Florida humidity, they're not going to be used to. I actually heard people saying that. It was like, I didn't even know how to respond.
No, the worst part is if you've been on Twitter at all this week, if you asked a Florida fan, why are the Gators going to win? They're like, oh, the swamp. Camp Ward's never been in anywhere like the swamp. These boys don't know about the swamp. This and that. They never actually talked about ball. They never talked about their team. Why? Because they're trash. We said it in the post. Look, Slim and I thought this was going to be close. If T2Y comes on today, I don't know if he will. I hope he tells us to our face that he told us so when he said we were going to put belt to ass. Because that's what we did. We put belt to ass. The moment we went up 14-3, this game was over. I know they scored a 71-yard touchdown, and that really made things look a little bit better than it was early on. But they couldn't do anything.
And that play there with the touchdown where they got that one, that was well executed by Florida. I'll give them that. They really did. That was a good play. It kind of did mumble.
It was a good play, but it also got sprung because Jaden Harris took a terrible angle to get to the ball.
Right.
An absolutely terrible angle. So, I mean, I have the stats here. If you take that 71 yards off, Florida had 139 yards rushing. If you take 71 yards off of that, then they are left with 68 yards rushing on 27 carries.
What did we see with Mertz? What did he only throw for 91 yards?
He threw 11 of 20 for 91 yards, which that was another thing. A lot of Gator fans try to be like, Graham Mertz is so underrated, 71% completion percentage, this, and that. Yeah, that came because all he does is throw checkdowns and screens. He threw
it was great. And they were like
down the field, and they were all overthrown or incomplete.
Well, and speaking of Graham Mertz, let's not stoop down to Florida Gators level. I do hope he's okay. I don't like to see any football player get hurt.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I hated to see him go out.
I will say, when DJ Lagway came in, y'all boys are gonna have a quarterback controversy because it was near the end of the game, but he looked a whole lot better than Graham Mertz.
Well, he's a whole lot more
hell of a lot.
athletic. I mean, that was to be expected. And now, see, that's what I was hearing out of Florida fans is they were going to have packages for DJ all along, and they were going to implement him into the game early on, kind of like Urban did with Chris Leak and Tebow for that 06 title.
Yeah, I mean,
well, let's look at this too, though. You see that guy come in. Yeah, he did look better, but you're putting that up against a fourth quarter defense that
don't
is
give a fuck
worn
defense,
down. Down and not trying like they were at the beginning of the game. So I mean, he might have looked better, justifiably. Or not. It's not like the first quarter comparison.
Yeah, I mean, another big thing that really, I forget who said it on our season preview stream, but we controlled possession all game.
Yes,
we showed we could be explosive, but we don't need to be. We can kill you with 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. Just death by 1,000 paper cuts like that. And we still put up 41 points. I mean, and another thing is just we were able to limit the turnovers, stupid mistakes. I know Cam had the interception, but that one was honestly really just a result of him trying to play hero ball, which he's been used to over the last couple of years.
Well, and you expect some mistakes early on because they can practice all they want. I admittedly went into this game a little worried, that everybody's timing is down, that everybody's fully gelled together because you can only do so much in practice.
Yeah, but that's what surprised me the most and even the announcers said it, Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer, this team looks like they've been playing together for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like they looked amazing. They looked so instinct. Damian Martinez, he didn't have a huge.
Hang on, but before we can get back to celebrating, but quick aside, Mario, kneel the damn ball. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this was a troll because people have been talking about it, and it might have been. In which case, I'll let it go. But also, think about the longevity of the season. When you have a big lead, I don't want to see Cam Ward in that game.
Yeah.
Outside of that, listen, I'll let some of that go because it's a rivalry game, and I can understand Mario wanting to run it up on Florida. So I'll give him a pass. And because of all the trash talk in the offseason about the knee, I'll give that a pass because I could just, as much trolling as was going on before and after this game, which Lance Guidry, that was good. I reposted something he posted on Twitter.
Yeah,
I will let that slide for this game. But hey, we're done with it. We forced down our veggies back to dessert.
Yeah, we already threatened to give. We already threatened to give Slim the Debbie Downer award if he went too long with that this week. So yeah, good call, Slim. Good call.
Also, Ronnie Powell, I'm about to answer your question. Mario Cristobal says Ruben Bain and Damari Brown will likely be out 1 to 2 weeks, which isn't too big of a deal when your next games are Ball State and Florida A&M. Obviously, it would be better if they didn't get injured, but they missed the whole game. It honestly looked a lot. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse, so I'll take 1 to 2 weeks. And he also said that Rodriguez likely has a sprained ankle. So yeah, that could take some time to come back from. But again, that we have depth at the offensive line, and he was rotating in and out with someone else. I'm forgetting the name now, but he was rotating all day in the offensive line, so it's still not crazy. But yeah, also we set a few records today. We broke Florida's 33-game home opener streak. This is the most points they've ever given up in an opener period, ever. Not
ever.
Just take that in, everybody. Take that in, everybody. Just take that in and take a deep breath and smell that beautiful scent aroma coming in of Florida misery. It's wonderful.
Oh, listen, before we were live, somebody sent me a link on Twitter. They had a Twitter space going. So I was sitting there listening to that until we got this set up.
You called it, Alex. You called it. Alex called it. We're like, where's Slim at? Where's Slim at? He's like, he's probably in his Twitter space. Hey,
Hey, I was basking in salty gator tears.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. I mean, hopefully the perfect cap this weekend would be Monday, FSU losing at home to Boston College. It would just be they already lost to Georgia Tech. And
That's
that was
that's the
amazing.
Monday night game, right?
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. I don't, and here's why: because Boston College was an absolutely abysmal team last year, and they're probably going to be this year because they have a new head coach and an entirely new coaching staff. No, I like to troll. So when you're looking for losses for your opponent, you need to look for key troll opportunities. Uh, Florida State plays Memphis, Mike Norvell's former team, and one of the teams in a lot of people's picks to be the group of 5 team to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot more likely that they lose to Memphis if they also lose to BC early on. Because then they're just really down in the dumps.
And I get it. And as funny as it would be, it's also much more likely that they come out there and throw Boston College one hell of a beating. They're going to take some frustration out on Boston College.
Also, workforce, I do have BC covering. That is a 17-point spread. And honestly, it's crazy to think that FSU could even score 17 points after what they showed with DJ last week. Yeah, I think Boston covers. I still think I think FSU will win, but I think Boston College covers. But we're not here to talk about FSU. We're here to talk about the absolute ass kicking we just had into the baby lizards up in Canesville.
So let me ask this. So I was listening to reading the chat and Uncle Lou's thing earlier while he was covering the game as well. And of course the narrative has switched like almost immediately from Miami's not going to be able to, it's going to be a close game, but they'll probably cover 2.5 points. Is the noise going to get to them? How are they going to handle the swamp? To Florida State's or Florida is a dumpster fire. Florida's horrible. Florida, blah, blah, blah. The ACE. So do you think Florida is as bad or that we actually are a lot better team? What do you
No, Florida actually showed some improvement over last year. I mean, in
it's hard to gauge. It's hard to gauge. That's why I asked the question.
It's hard to gauge week 1, but especially listen, their D line fought for 4 quarters. They didn't give up a single play, and every run play that had to be earned without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't know if and you had it up from Inked Cane a minute ago, and it's something I saw during the game as well. When we got a lead and it felt like the game was in control, did the wide receivers kind of slack off a little, or were the corners just that good because we weren't getting a ton of separation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw Ink Cane's thing there too. Good to see Ink Cane too.
I think it was more slacking off because we were getting that separation earlier in the game.
And do you call it slacking off or being like? Do you call it slacking off or being exhausted? I mean, there is that too. They played a really good game. Everybody,
there is that.
I mean, everybody called us out saying our pass defense was going to be bad and blah blah. Everybody went on and on about all this and how the guy was going to pitch. I mean, we did good. We hung in there. We did. We played a good game, I thought. And I hate that people are. Well, Florida's just that bad.
Because we're Miami.
Well, and also
they're always going to try to take everything away from us.
Right.
Well, no, you also have to be honest about some of the things that happened in the game. That first touchdown, or actually it was the second touchdown of the game, or the second passing, the one to X, that was a busted coverage all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yes, is on Florida, but that's not a wide receiver creating separation and beating somebody one-on-one. That's just a blown coverage.
Yeah, but also, like, with X, we know X gets open.
We know X gets open, and we also know that X, it doesn't matter if he's wearing a corner as a blanket, he's going to make the catch. That's just the kind of guy that he is.
Yeah. How many yards?
Primetime Rambo, thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat there. Good to see you too, Primetime Rambo. Isn't it great to be back in college football season and smiling? Believe it or not, we're actually smiling Miami fans. But he says Jaden Harris was the only mixed bag player I saw this week, but I expect him to improve.
Yeah. Oh, I expect improvement from everybody because listen, this is a rule of college football or football period. Whether you're talking pro college and whether you're talking Alabama at the top or UConn at the bottom, you see the biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2. So you're going to see improvement out of everybody next week.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm really happy about, and you had mentioned it on the preview show, Slim, we used the tight ends.
We did. How about hey, and you sent this text message earlier today. Who had a Cam McCormick touchdown on their bingo card?
Yep.
None of us.
Not just a touchdown, but the first touchdown of the season is to Cam McCormick.
Yes, it was.
And
then, I mean, you saw him get you saw him get Arroyo into the game in a big way, Elijah Lofton into the game in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, with the tight ends, you had Cam McCormick, 1 catch yards, but it was a touchdown. Elijah Lofton, 2 catches for 38 yards, which he looked like a grown man on that last catch that he had. Elijah Arroyo, 4 catches, 89 yards, 22 yards a catch with a long of 29 yards. I mean, Elijah Arroyo, we know the issue with him has been staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, he's probably going to be one of the top tight ends. I can't say in the country, but probably in the ACC.
Well, and something that encouraged me today, Shannon Dawson got ballsy. Shannon Dawson dug into his bag of tricks. You saw RPOs. You saw 4 or 5 wide. You saw bunch sets.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to do.
He's going to give you a lot.
Like a quarterback.
He's going to give you a lot to look at.
I was so hoping that Restrepo was going to get that little fake pass that the little trick play that they did when he ran out, and it was right there on it. I was so
almost. And Sam Brown had a couple of drops, and listen, once again, you're going to see improvement from this game to the next, but you're also going to see you expect some jitters out of Sam Brown coming from Group of 5 level to Power 5 level, and then his first game being in the Swamp. So I'm more than willing to forgive a couple of drops out of him today.
Right, and it's the first game of the season. I mean, you can't like you said, improvement is going to happen. Obviously, well, you hope, unless Tyler Van Dyke, with our luck, everything he started out good all the time and it went bad. But surely this looked like a totally different team on both ends of the ball. So
it did, and my biggest surprise, I thought the defense would have some problems because despite what you think about Florida, they may have Cousin Eddie as a head coach, but there's talent on that football team.
Well, right, and that's what I'm going to be really curious to see what they come out and do moving forward. I mean, obviously we've looked at their schedule back we all made fun of it. They have, without a doubt, one of the hardest schedules in college football. But I'm curious to see how they do, moving forward from here as well.
I am too, and from what I saw, I still cannot believe the 2-3 win predictions. 4 is a possibility. I think 5 is more likely.
Yeah,
for them going forward.
My prediction for Florida 5 and 7. Yeah, I think they still get a couple big wins when I look at the schedule. I think they can beat Texas A&M just because it's at home. We'll see how Texas A&M looks tonight against Notre Dame. UCF could be tough. They play Tennessee. Kentucky could potentially be a win because it's at home. But then that last 5 games, Georgia, Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, and then at Florida State. Most winnable games there are probably State and then LSU, and that's just because LSU at home. If that was in Death Valley, I'd say LSU has that one in the bag.
I'm not high on LSU, and I'll even give them a shot against Ole Miss late in the season, and simply because of Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, it's at home, and Lane Kiffin has had himself in prime position plenty of times and found a way to Lane Kiffin it up.
Yeah, but then, Billy might be fired if they lose to A&M, UCF, and Tennessee. Billy's gone after that Tennessee game, maybe even after the UCF game.
Yeah, see, that's going to be the talking point going forward in this season. Is he going to make it past UCF, or is he going to make it past Tennessee?
Right, he's going to be dressing up as a hobo getting on the train for Halloween.
Because look, they're gonna. I think we can say they're gonna beat Samford next week. I think we can be safe in saying that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
And
Texas A&M. We'll get our answers on A&M here in a minute, because that game either has started or is about to start.
I think that game should have started already. Texas A&M, that game, if they lose it, they're 1-2. You beat Mississippi State, you're 2-2. If you lose to UCF and you lose to Tennessee, you're 2-4, and your wins are Samford and Mississippi State, which, yes, it's an SEC win, but Mississippi State is projected to probably be the worst team in the SEC.
It's like at the end of the day, it's Mississippi State. Now A&M, I think it's safe to call that a toss-up. I've never made my feelings shy that continuity is one of the best things you can have in a football team between players and coaches. And Texas A&M has a brand new staff.
Yeah,
I do love how we're sitting here like we're basically giving Florida a swirly right now in the toilet, we're talking about,
and actually I saw a comment a minute ago. How about Jordan Lyle today?
Yeah, looked good.
That was a breath of fresh air.
He only got 3 yards of carry, but he
for his first start ever. I'll take it.
No, you saw 6 for 18, and you saw flashes. Cam Ward said, Oregon and USC were louder than the Swamp today. Fuck you, Florida. Fucking.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that in the press conference.
At one point, what was it? I think it was when we went up 17-3. That's when Florida got that false start. It was Miami fans in there were so loud that it affected Florida.
It's so nice to see.
Drain the swamp, baby. Drain the fucking swamp. You got Ruben Bain heading on the team bus wearing the good, bad, and ugly shirt.
Oh, nice. And I don't think his injury is that. I mean, he walked off the field. Did you even know he got injured when he got injured? I mean, I might have
knew it
away for a second. I didn't even know he got hurt. So
what worried me is when the commentators mentioned it and they said he went straight back to the locker room off the field.
But he walked. It wasn't like he got taken off in the golf cart.
Right. He's not. And we don't play him this year, and I've got nothing against Max Johnson, but I feel bad for him. Did you see that in that North Carolina-Minnesota game?
Yeah. I mean, what this feels like a lot to me is, remember at the end of the Texas A&M game last year, Cam had that scary injury and he had to get carted off and all that, and he didn't play in the Bethune-Cookman or Temple game, and he came back for the first, like, quote-unquote real game against Georgia Tech. That's what it feels like, because these next 2 weeks, it's Florida A&M and Ball State. I feel like if we feel good about our team, they'll even sit him against USF, and we play Virginia Tech, and I think he'll be back for Virginia Tech. Because, yes, Mario likes to play sort of keep away with injuries, but he's not like Kirby Smart level where it's like Kirby Smart reveals absolutely nothing. At least Mario will give you some nuggets. You get me?
Oh, speaking of that, you predicted Virginia Tech as a loss, sir. would you like to change your opinion on that after today's performance? Not only by us, but by Virginia Tech going down to Vanderbilt?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Shit, we still could lose it. I'm not gonna do that. It's week one.
The serious discussion is being had right now, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, and I even heard it said by the commentators during the game. Is Miami the best clear front runner, best team in the ACC?
Yeah, Clemson got dog walked, which thank you, Georgia. You helped me with my bet where I predicted them to cover. That was such a stupid line, too. Georgia was only 13.5-point favorites. Like, come on.
Well, no, I understand it with basically 3 running backs being out of the game. I do understand that.
I mean, that was the quickest I've ever taken.
Well, and listen, Clemson, to Clemson's defense a little, that defense is still nothing to be trifled with.
No,
they got gassed. They got gassed in the second half, and they just broke.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like our 2017 defense in the ACC title game, they got gassed and they broke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Clemson will be a hard team to score on.
We still may very well see them in the ACC title game.
I could see that very likely as well. And did Louisville
going?
When do they play?
Louisville did play. They shut out. Who was it?
Who did they play? How did I miss that?
Austin.
They played earlier. Yeah, Austin Peay. They won like 42 to nothing.
Cool. Okay,
62 to nothing.
Right. Okay.
62 to nothing. Okay.
They've got. What would be interesting is to see Louisville versus Georgia Tech, and like next week they play Jacksonville State, which against your unless you're FSU, you shouldn't be scared of them. After that, they play Georgia Tech.
Well, I don't even think
Notre Dame, so that'll be an interesting 2 weeks, just sort of to gauge where Louisville's really at.
Jacksonville State lost their first game. They're not where they were a few years ago, and let's be fair, I like making fun of Florida State as much as anybody, but they're not that bad.
So what about after the guy's story and all that kind of stuff, I like the way the one person Mario was conservative with, but I love that he got a touchdown was at McCormick.
Yes. I had heard some of that story from an Oregon fan on Twitter even before they did this. Like he got that injury in Oregon and the surgery got botched. And
he had to have 3 or 4 different surgeries the guy's gone through. His college football career has been, he's always wanted, that's a good story. And the guy seems like such a nice guy too. So yeah, congrats to him. Congrats to Cam McCormick. One touchdown, one pass. He got thrown one ball, he caught it and scored a touchdown. It doesn't get much.
And Mario has said he kept him around for his attitude and leadership ability.
Yeah.
And that is just as important, in my opinion, in a locker room as your performance on the field.
Well, yeah, morale means a huge thing. And I think it was Lou that was talking about it in one of his things, like the FSU. One of their biggest problems was that they have a lot of talent, but they're not a team.
They're not. That is correct. That they are a group of mercenaries.
Exactly. Hey, what's up, Nature Boy? Good to see you in here, brother. Hope everything's going good.
Nature Boy, my man.
Good to see you, Nature Boy.
Thank God. Can we all just celebrate too? We have college football back, and we have it in a win over the Florida Gators.
Dude, if we obviously weren't even close. If we had lost today, that probably would have been the most depressed I would have been in a while.
So since we've started doing this post game show, what a few years ago over here on the Voice of College Football, we've had some pretty fun times. We've made the best out of everything that's ever come at us, even though there's been some miserable times. But tonight is actually wonderful to come on here with everybody, and
we're still undefeated in our openers.
Yeah,
we started every year.
We are. Maybe we're a good luck charm
for week ones at least.
Just saying.
The problem is the 2 previous years we've had embarrassing losses, such as Middle Tennessee and then the Georgia Tech knee. So let's hope that doesn't continue.
Oh, shout out my guy OG over there in Nashville.
Yeah,
One of
there you
like
go.
12 realistic Miami Hurricane fans on the internet that doesn't lose his mind.
Yeah, I do love the ones. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to give out a Debbie Downer award tonight, but maybe we'll get maybe we can get a Florida fan to come in here. And
I mean, we got a Georgia fan.
Oh,
shooting
no
5.56.
No chance a Florida fan comes in here.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either, but it would be good to see.
Steeler Lee, I can answer you that question because we've said it and we've seen it. Miami's offensive line is elite, and I think they're going to live up to their preseason expectation of being a top 5 O-line in the country. I mean, Cam couldn't be more comfortable in that pocket if he had a lazy boy and a beer in his hand.
Well, I think
he just looks almost nonchalant about it.
Well, there was that one time. Didn't he go over there and bake that? Well, he went over there and baked that At Least You Tried cake. That one time he had so much time and brought it out there. Hell, he even had time to put icing on it. I mean, it was.
God.
No,
yeah,
I mean,
that. Say what you want for Mario's faults. An offensive line is not something you're going to have to worry about with Mario Cristobal. I mean, year one, you can only fix so much in one off season, and that's to be expected. But going forward, that line has increased in effectiveness exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, how nice is it to go out there and see a QB that's calm? I mean, he threw that pick, and if it was the guy from last year, there would have been 2 or 3 more interceptions. But he threw that pick, and they score. What does he do immediately? Comes out, scores a touchdown. Florida scores on a 71-yard touchdown. Don't worry, I got you. Right before we go to half, touchdown to Restrepo, drive down the field. Cool, calm, collected. Just, you can tell he's been here before. People wanted to talk about, he's never played like in the swamp. I mean, he just said it. Oregon and Washington were louder. They were louder. He's been in this situation. In the Apple Cup last year, he had no talent around him, no O-line. He's running for his life. He still threw for over 350 yards. Played like an animal. He did 385 yards, 3 touchdowns, 26 of 35. Elite performance. And everyone's saying it for good reason. If he keeps this type of shit up, he could be in New York. I don't know if he'll win the Heisman. Probably not, but he could be in New York at the end of this season.
I think he'll have numbers worthy, which this is something we didn't cover, and I actually looked this up. Even if he matches what he did at Washington State last year, you realize that would put him top 5 single season all time at Miami? Because now, number 5 is Ja'Cory Harris with 3,300 yards.
Hey, Slim, DJ Pickett just reacted to Miami's win over Florida, and he said, all I can say is they proved to me everything I needed to see. That's all. Maybe LSU was.
I told you LSU is just keeping him warm for us.
That's funny. It's like Kyle says. Kyle says here too. The man literally pranced off the sidelines after running. The 20-yard.
Yeah,
I mean that was awesome. What? He just kind of slowed down. I wanted to see him start like skipping. Like the next time, do like some little skip. And turn around.
What was so great is after he threw that insane touchdown to Jacoby George in the back of the end zone, which Jacoby George, I love him so much. That taunting. Also, shout out to the refs for letting it happen, letting the boys have fun in the end zone, making fun of that stupid ass Gator chomp, trolling the Gator fans. But you saw, like, ESPN showed the replay. When he walked off the field, he just goes straight on the side, and everyone's mobbing. Until they love him, that he's a leader. And he's just over there still just like, yeah, this is what I do. Last year we had a guy that it was like, he's showing no emotion. But, like, this is what we mean when it's like a guy that doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Like, he just, like, he knows what he can do, and he goes out there and he does it.
And see, I was in a Twitter space last night with, an Oregon fan, a couple Tennessee fans, a Texas fan. There was a pretty good mix of us in there. And we were just watching the game, shooting the shit last night.
Was Bystar in there?
He was not, thankfully.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, well, and he wouldn't have been either because he'd have got kicked out of there. But we were sitting there, like me and the Oregon fan were sitting there commenting back and forth. Actually, even one of the Tennessee fans. They can see, like they said it's almost amazing that we went 7-5 last year with them watching Tyler Van Dyke's performance in that Wisconsin game.
Yeah, I mean, he had one right at halftime. He didn't throw any picks, but he literally almost threw like 3 interceptions. And the one that was especially bad was the one right before halftime, where it was the same shit we saw last year. Clean pocket, no pressure, and he just makes an awful read. Awful.
Yeah.
And
the only one I'll forgive is that one where his receiver slipped and fell down after he threw the ball.
I rewatched that one.
So did I.
His receiver didn't slip. It was the DB that slipped.
No, that was his receiver. Go back and watch it. I promise you.
Maybe we're thinking.
Maybe we're
talking about.
What about that interception tonight? Who was it? Was it Harris? Was it Jaden Harris that got it? Where he was just basically lying on his back.
On his ass.
He's just like laying.
Dude, I mean, that right there.
He still made a great adjustment because he's on the ground and he still turns his body and is able to extend his arms out and corral the football. So it's not like it literally just fell on him. He started to adjust.
Well, that is a perfect example of not only an old saying, but something I think, and I've brought up lots of times, is key in football. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. There is a lot of luck for a team to go undefeated and win a national title. Crap like that has to happen in key moments.
How about 2001 Miami playing Boston College? Ball deflects in the air. Matt Walters ends up with it. Ed Reed rips it out of his hands and he runs it back for a touchdown.
Well, and that's like the one that's gotten famous that everybody quotes, but we only beat Virginia Tech by like 3 or 7. Like we just squeaked out of that Virginia Tech game that year. That was a close game. Now it did help that Michael Vick went down in that game.
No, he wasn't there that year. He wasn't there that year. He had left the year before because that was his rookie year in the NFL. He wasn't even there. We beat Virginia Tech 26-24 in Lane Stadium.
Told you. I mean that was a nail biter. I remember it. I wasn't even sitting on the couch because I was still. God, I was getting ready to go to high school, but I was almost like a little kid, like 6 inches in front of the TV on Saturday morning cartoons, because that was just that tight of a game. It was.
How old were you in 2001?
Oh, let's see. I would have been in 7th grade. I would have been 13.
All right, screw y'all. Let's not talk about how old we were in 2001. I don't want to have that conversation with you guys.
Brendan, I wasn't even a little sperm wiggling around.
Let's not even talk about that. No, let's not even talk. 2001. God, I'd already been to college. I'd already been to. Yeah.
Did you have frosted tips?
Hey, in 2001, he was on his 3rd marriage.
I already found my 4th ex-wife by then. Jesus Christ. Jokes, jokes.
Steeler Elite, they played with swagger. You saw it. They had the swagger. From the beginning, that first touchdown, Jacoby out there trolling the Gators fans and let them know, like, yo, we're here. We've arrived.
Yeah, that was so nice to see.
Oh my God! And did you see that guy with his head on the wall, just looking so sad?
Oh, and we got the gratuitous after that last touchdown catch. I think that the last one was the one to George in the back of the end zone, right?
Let me see the play-by-play.
Hey, whatever it was, after the last touchdown, you know it's a good game when you get the gratuitous shot of fans piling into the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just like, screw this noise.
Some of them were doing it at halftime.
Well, they might have been going to concession stand at halftime. I'm going to give them a little credit.
Oh wow, yeah, it was so great to see. It's always nice to beat like a rival too. You know, it just makes it so much more fun.
Well, it is, and these rivalries are so tight. It feels a little better to just get another game,
Yeah,
over them.
in that record book.
Yeah,
Also,
like
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No.
I was just saying, I'm looking for it next year. That way, we have a 4-game gap on them instead of just 3, because that's what we're up to now. It was a 2-game gap before today. We got a 3-game lead on that series, and I don't see anybody that can stop us to win the Florida Cup this year. Because I don't care that UCF is quote unquote Power 4. It's still the big 3. UCF, you're still you're not even little brother. You're baby brother.
I still think of
no. Let me address this comment here real fast. Steeler Lee, and he means to say wasn't, but he says, and it wasn't a fake, turnover chain swagger that was early 2000s swagger. Yeah, it seems I didn't like all that turnover chain stuff and all that. It was and it was fake.
Well,
the first year
I was with it for
that.
Right. Get out there and win football games. That's what matters. And it, like, remember when they would do that after, like, you're down by 17 points and 3 minutes left in the game, and somebody gets in a chain for intercepting the ball. It's
the one that really killed it was Alabama, where we're down like 27 to nothing, and it was like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's horrible.
Yeah, like
the
first.
I'm with you. Well, especially when you are, for a time, leading the nation in turnovers. I think we ended up number 2 overall that year in turnovers. But you gotta like it for it to be that first year, and then you ride that turnover wave all year. Yeah, okay, I can get behind it. It's cool. The song by Solo D. Yeah, I still listen to the song sometimes.
Turnover chain.
Dude, I annoyed people with that song as much as possible.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
They were putting it on ESPN. They were playing it in the stadium.
I know Slim even sent me a mixtape one time, and that was on it. So I was,
Yeah, I mean, here's sort of my thing with the turnover chain. 2017 obviously was the peak when it was really cool. They had the turnover chain graphic on ESPN where someone would get the chain. It would be like turnover chain recipient, Michael Jackson. Like, it was really fucking cool in 2017. 2018, it was still okay, especially because you had games like that FSU game where we were down 27-7, and we rode the turnover chain in that game to come back and beat FSU. 2019 is where it really started to get like tacky, because you weren't leading with the turnovers. You weren't able to ride the swagger of that chain anymore. And it just became like it was like a prop. And it also got watered down because that's when Manny introduced those stupid ass touchdown rings. He was also hoping would catch on, but they never did.
So, yeah, I could do without both of them and be a happy camper.
Yeah. Also, Troy, I'm interested to know what you mean. What you think we need to execute better on offense? Is there something specific? Like,
I mean, there were drives that didn't end in touchdowns. You left some points on the board early on in that game, but like some of the other stuff we've brought up, I'm willing to forgive it game 1. Because game one, you're cleaning up the very most.
Yeah, and even then, it's a game 1 where you're playing an SEC team on the road. They're your rival, and there's 90,000 people in the stands, and you still put up 41 points. You still had 560 yards of offense. Your quarterback almost threw for 400 yards. You ran for almost 150 yards. I mean, obviously, yeah, every team has things that they can improve on, but this was a really great performance. Like, that can't be denied. Yes, we left some points on the board. Yes, Cam threw that bad interception, which, if I didn't say it earlier, I said it in the back room with Brennan. It's very much still tendencies from his Washington State days where he feels like he needs to play hero ball. Where he feels like he needs to do everything.
And I think that's why he almost seemed overly comfortable later on in the game. It was his way, I think, of combating that.
Well, I also kind of saw something a little different there as well. I think even at the beginning, he might have felt overly comfortable right there for a second when he threw that pass. Like he got greedy, maybe.
Yeah.
Just a little bit was out there being after
because he
doing
had
a little.
yards. He could have taken off.
Yeah. Well, it's like Kyle put in there earlier, like when he, kind of just skipped into the, off the field, running the ball there a couple times, and then he threw that. Then he didn't do any of that nonsense after that.
But
and there were some people mad on Twitter about that whole little skipping out of the off the sideline.
What I'll say is this: it's like, yes, on the field he had that nonchalant personality, but he was locked in, man. I mean, you saw it right before. He didn't even know they were supposed to go into the tunnel for halftime because he was still on the sideline looking at the iPad from the previous drive. He was locked in. Like sure, he has that nonchalant swagger on the field, but he's there. Like, he's very much aware of what he needs to do, and he's locked into the game. So, like, I don't want to
this is probably a good time. I do have to play this video for you guys right here. So I'm going to play this video here from Mark Rogers right here, and commercial break for 1 minute. But here's a video.
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.
There you go. Everybody jump over there and check that out right now. If you like gambling on sports, you should probably go over there and check that out.
Yeah, speaking of which, Thursday, I about had a heart attack because SMU tried to screw up my parlay. Thanks a lot, Rhett Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, that's something else we can get into real quick. Just the improvement on this team. And you saw a lot of those Miami Hurricane players on that SMU team now not looking so great. And just how different this looks into year 3. I mean,
I do think some of them were great. I think some of them, well, I'm not going to call any names, but there are some that didn't leave for, talent level or playmaking ability.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, I think we all knew when Mario got here, this was going to be like a complete rebuild. Even though, we had talent coming back after that 2021 season. We didn't expect to go 5-7, but that was just a whole crazy year anyway with all the injuries and everything going on.
Yeah. You get struck with the injury bug and it happens, yeah.
I mean, dude, in that FSU game, we were starting third stringers. Basically, like that team was ravaged by injuries, but now you see the talent that's brought in. With Mario, you bring in a Damian Martinez, you bring in a Jordan Lyle, who you flip him from Ohio State. A year after, you flip Mark Fletcher from Ohio State. Like under previous coaches, we weren't flipping guys from Ohio State. That wasn't a thing. You bring in a 5-star defensive lineman in Justin Scott. You bring in a Alston. You bring in Tyler Barron, which Tyler Barron, when Ruben Bain went out, was fucking awesome today. That D-line ate. That D-line was as advertised. You lose a Ruben Bain and you still go out there and play as you did. That is insane. I mean,
yeah, and I do hope Bain's okay, but I think he will be.
Yeah,
I've read.
Well, somebody put it in there earlier. Mario said it was just a soft tissue injury, week or two. Now,
Yeah.
this is something I wanted to mention too. Novice Gamer touched on it and reminded me. Thank you, sir. How about Mario cleaning up the penalties?
Mhm.
We averaged 9 penalties a game last year, and in a emotional rivalry game, you have 2.
At the
You didn't have
swamp where it was
Chipotle
supposed to be
you
so
didn't-
loud that we wouldn't be able to deal with it, and the humidity was
No
going to have us
false
all messed up.
starts, no procedural penalties.
I mean, what were the
that
penalties?
can't be. One was a PI. I remember that. It was PI on a deep ball.
And it was a weak guy. I'm sorry, that was bullshit. But even
Well,
more
now,
so.
and like every game that's ever been played or will be played, I don't know how they didn't call roughing the passer when Mertz got knocked out of the game. How they got away with that, I don't know.
I
But
saw it replay. I was like, dude, fuck.
they got away with one. They got away with one. But listen, that's the game. That is the game. There are good calls and bad calls built into every game that has ever been played or ever will be played.
Yeah, but I think you also saw very clearly the difference in culture, because you had Miami with their 2 penalties and very disciplined play, and then you had Florida, busted coverages, multiple roughing the passer penalties, one of which was awful because Cam Ward had let go of the ball for like 5 seconds. He's just standing there and the safety's coming in on the blitz and just blaze him out. Just stupid penalties that extended Miami. The first touchdown drive would have ended in a field goal if it had not been for stupid ass Florida linebacker roughing Cam Ward.
Mhm.
Now, did he kill him or anything?
Yeah, and then when we went up 17 too, same thing. Roughing the passer penalty extended that drive that should have stalled out. And listen, we talk about things that need to be cleaned up. You're not always going to get that from every team. Florida was, and that's been the knock on Florida. They're an undercoached, undisciplined football team, and that's what you can get from them. But not every team is going to save you that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what I saw today, though. I did like it, and I really can't wait to see these other teams play that we've watched play or that we're being compared to at this point, because we really have nothing to base anything on. I mean, for all we know, Florida goes out and loses every other game, and we do the same. I don't think that's going to be the case, obviously.
Right.
But Florida could go out there and all of a sudden look like a good football team. I don't think that's really going to be the case either. But I do think Florida showed up to play their heart out today. And so a rivalry, that rivalry win.
Well, and that's
you want to hear?
That's the thing about early season. That's the thing about early season games is there's going to be a ton of overreactions to every game week 1, just like there were a ton of overreactions to all the games week 0. Me personally, I think you need 3 weeks and one decent opponent to see what your team's made of. We have our decent opponent. Now the next 2 weeks we have easy ones, and I think by the time we get into conference play after that, we'll have a good idea of what we're working with.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just listen to some of this. Florida is 2-9 versus teams that finish ranked under Billy Napier. Florida has lost 6 consecutive football games under Billy Napier. Florida hasn't won a home game since October 7th, 2023. Florida 1-10 versus rival teams under Billy Napier. And they tried telling me
I don't think Billy Napier's their guy.
No, and it's kind of a shame. I mean, it is. He looked, but you see that all the time. You see guys that look good at the group of 5 level, and I almost think the perfect recipe for coming up, and obviously there are exceptions to this rule, Kirby, Dabo. But I almost think the perfect recipe for coming up is like a Nick Saban route where you start in the group of 5 and then you go to, a lower level. I mean, not trying to bash Michigan State here, but Michigan State they are what they are. historically, and then you move on to a premier program like an LSU, Alabama, Miami, whatever. To me, that's the perfect route for a coach to come up, and that's exactly what Mario's done, and that's why I've had a lot of faith in him going forward.
Yeah. I mean, what a great fucking day.
I know. You just want to sit there and take it in for a minute. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
we can actually smile. We can come in here and it's like,
No,
oh my
I'm
God,
gonna
we won.
I'm gonna go
awesome.
outside and smoke a cigar after this. That's what this makes me want to do. Smoke a nice
Oh,
Cuban.
I
in honor
have
of
one
Mario.
ready. Listen, I have a cigar already picked out for this victory, and I have a bottle of 15-year aged Johnny Walker Gold Label that is calling my name.
Well, that sounds nice.
Don't it though?
That does sound good.
Here on the
So
street.
who do we have next week? Wait, what do we got?
The Florida A&M
Atlantic
Rattlers.
Oh, that's right, the Florida A&M Rattlers. Because that'll be like our real test, you know.
That will well. See, I like beating up on them too because I don't care if you had it first. We did the color combination better.
Yes.
And you stole our colors.
Yeah, I do like the way they stole our colors, but that'll be. So, was there a lot of people wearing white at the end of this game, or is that just all the empty seats up there in the stadium?
It was some of that, dude. Listen, I love trolling on the internet. Everybody that knows me knows that. But I love it when these schools troll each other. And when Florida announced that they wanted their fans to white out that game, and then hours later, Miami posted, somebody said wear white, which I knew. I heard during the off season. By the way, how is Florida like? They have to hear the same crap we do. We heard in the off season that they're whiting out that game and they're going all orange for FSU.
Or for Florida. Yeah, for Florida. Okay. Oh, man. I don't know. I thought it was funny, though. It was nice to see.
Oh, it was hilarious. And then when the Miami fans got in town Friday for the... Yeah, well, then when the Miami fans got in town Friday and on the 34th Street Bridge, spray painted Drain the Swamp. Listen, myself included, I'm so glad we won this game the way we did because me and a lot of other Miami fans during the off season on the internet, we wrote some checks. We wrote some checks that we were hoping this team was going to cash.
Dude, I did it on the preview stream. Like the moment that Florida game showed up and we were going to predict it, I was like, yeah, this is a win, easy fucking win. Florida's awful. We're gonna beat their ass. Like all this stuff. Like if we lost this game, like how many people are watching right now? Because it would be like triple with all the Florida fans coming in here to troll us if we had lost this game.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trolls tonight. I haven't seen any of those Florida fans that have been talking all this smack for the past 6 months. I haven't seen any. The only one that I've seen is George. George is the only one that I've seen.
Where's George?
No. George wasn't in here, but the only one I've seen out there actually like owning up to it. Since
I saw that ugly hillbilly looking dude from Locked On Gators owning up to it, so that's good at least because he was. I wonder
if High Top Sports is crying again.
That wasn't High Top. That was Gators Breakdown, but yeah. Gators Breakdown was the one I was crying.
That's right.
High Top Sports came on here with Cam, and he was like super nonchalant and like arrogant about it, being like, hey, we'll see. You guys have to come up to the swamp and all this stuff. And Cam, God bless Cam. Cam was like having an aneurysm trying to like get this dude to understand that we're going to kick his ass. Like he was like, he doesn't see it. Like, how do you not understand that your team is awful?
Yeah. And to be honest, I hope they're really not that awful. I hope that the fact is that we have actually way improved. I mean, there is that could be out there.
Oh, listen, after we play them, I hope Florida wins every game for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
unless we're playing them. Because it looks good on us.
Right.
I hope Paul Feinbaum is right about what he said, and Billy Napier is the coach at Florida for a long, long time. Because
Could be good.
He said it was. He said that's going to happen, and the I think it was the AD of Florida was on with him, and he's like, "We need to reward patience with Billy Napier. Be as patient as you want with that man. He hasn't had enough time. It's only year 3."
Yeah. Listen. Can we get an online petition going to give that man a lifetime contract?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he has to be replaced by Dion.
Oh, good Lord.
That's the only way I'm making that deal.
Listen, I'm not even going down that rabbit hole. I've pissed off enough people on the internet with my Dion takes.
Poor Dion.
Damn.
Poor Shador, man. Like, I think Shador's got talent, but I'm really starting to
great.
I'm really starting to think keeping him behind that O line that secretly Dion doesn't like him.
Cam Ward with another gem. Cam Ward says, "Note to the fans: you have to be loud when we're in the huddle, not just when we break the huddle." Oh, he's teaching them how to be fans too.
Now, is this on Twitter that you're seeing this?
Yeah. Mark Long with the Associated Press, Gators reporter.
He's talking some smack. Then I like it.
Mad shit.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Did you not see? Good song. Did you see that during Mark Fletcher's touchdown where he jumped over right before the play? The mic picked it up. Even he points at the Florida linebacker and he's like, "Yeah, we're running at you."
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
Like he had a Cam Newton type moment where Cam Newton's like, "Oh, I see you studying. Now watch this."
Dude, I was sitting there. My wife and kids are sitting on the couch, and I saw Mark pointing, and I was like, this ain't gonna be good. And then it wasn't good for the Gators.
And then he said it. He said it to him too. He was like, "We're running at you." Oh, what's up, Joey?
Now that okay, there's something I want to see more of next game. Now I think the plan was a lot of Fletcher, a lot of Elijah Lofton, and a lot of Jordan Lyle and a lot of Mark Fletcher to wear them down, because those are your big run at you, run you over backs. Going forward, okay, my bad. I left out Martinez. My sincerest apologies. Mea culpa. But I'd like to see a little more change of pace, and I think that's something that you can exploit defenses with. I mean, that's the whole point of change of pace back. A little more AJ, a little more Chris Johnson Jr. Because Chris Johnson Jr., that man's got a 6th gear to drop it into. You get him in open space, good luck catching him.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, have we about beat this dead horse enough, or dead gator, as it were?
Now, I'm just looking at more stuff. SEC Mike predicted the Gators to beat us 30-14. He said it was an absolute lock. Yeah, you're an idiot. Barstool, Florida. The swamp is emptying quick. Morale might be the lowest I've ever seen.
Yeah, you did see that place clear out pretty fast. That was awesome to see. It was nice to see everybody just like floating out of there. It's like, poor Florida.
You know what's funny is, and I'm kind of getting deja vu back to my younger days, or when Foles was in his roaring 20s. Oh yeah, you've got Nebraska looking good. You've got Tennessee looking good. You've got Miami looking good.
What is this? 1993?
That's what I'm saying, man.
What is it, like the Iowa State or whatever, or Iowa that might actually do good?
I mean, Iowa's always got a defense with Kirk Ferentz. It's just that man didn't want to fire his son.
Right. All they got to do is score like 6 points and they'll win. So,
yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's time. Which, and I said I thought that it was coming, because whether or not Saban retired, you could see the downward trend. You saw the downward trend of Dabo really since 2020. We're an exciting point of college football. I think you're getting a changing of the guard.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State obviously is the most talented team in college football right now, but like they're not really.
They don't look good.
Oregon still looks really good. Hey, Jeremiah Smith, if you want to enter the portal, buddy, we'll take you. If you want to come back.
Well, and I think that may happen anyway, because all you've heard this offseason out of Ohio State fans on here and on Twitter is it's natty or bust. And when I say that, or when they say that, they mean if Ryan Day doesn't win a natty, he's gone. Which, and I've made my feelings on this known that, number one, you have to get coaches time. Ryan Day has only been a head coach, period, for 5 years, and that man hasn't won under 11 games. So I'm all for you firing him, because it's not my coach, and Mario, go load up your shopping cart when they do.
No, and the only time he did not win more than 11 games, it was COVID, and they played like 8 games, and he still only lost one. One game he lost was to 2020 Bama in the national championship game.
Yep.
Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, all them boys, like that whole like
fools. You lived through the last 20 years. Well, I mean, what would you give? Would you be okay with Mario winning 11 games every year for the next 5 years?
Oh, after what we've been through in the past 20 years, I'd be, a 10-win season. Just get us a 10-win season, and I would be like happy. But growing up and being on top, and then a lot of these younger fans are going to have a rude awakening before long, when all these people who are, in their early 20s or late teen, and they come on the internet and they talk a lot of smack, and they've been Alabama fans for, that's their life. They've always been, and that's all they've ever known. I kind of see the same thing. I remember growing up and that's all I knew. I mean, we were a football team, we were a force to be reckoned with. And then it was like womp womp, but I've still traveled the whole world with my Miami hat on. I've met people in crazy countries, and it's like, you'll hear people start yelling at you, and you're like in freaking Malaysia, and there's some guy yelling at you across the thing, putting up the U to you with the hat and stuff. It's like, that's super cool. So it's nice to see. Maybe I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Like, I really don't want to do that. I don't want to be like oh, we're back, just the typical every year we win one game and then something happens. But I do see a different team this year than what we are used to seeing, I think. And I hate we only have Cam Ward for 1 year, but I think he's, obviously going to make an absolute huge difference.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I saw Alex tweeted that out during the game. But listen, Cam McCormick's on his 9th year. We can figure out a way, people.
We can figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you can keep one Cam in, you can keep another Cam in. We'll just
exactly.
Give me the COVID rules. Give me the COVID rules. I don't care. Find a way. Give me the COVID rules where they keep the eligibility.
Oh, wait a minute. We have our first bandwagon jumper. Joey Foster is now trading in his blue and gold and his country roads for a U and some green and orange.
Oh, look at this.
Joey Foster trading the country roads for yacht parties at South Beach. Welcome.
There you go.
Welcome, Joey.
Joey, you'd fit right in South Beach. You would.
He would.
You would fit right in South Beach, Joey. Love you, Joey. Good to see you here too, brother. Sorry that West Virginia did. I was really rooting for West Virginia today too. So
that was a good. For the first half, that was a really good game. I give West Virginia. Listen, I thought that I didn't have West Virginia picked to win. I thought Penn State was too deep, and to me, that kind of proved to be, the downfall in the end. But that doesn't mean listen. Neil Brown his team saved his job, deservingly so, and I think they can have another good year for West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, they just ran into an animal at Penn State. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and listen, I said this all off season because a lot of people just add Drew Allar's trash, Drew Allar boo, and another same old with James Franklin. I'm not so sure. And I said that all off season, and Drew Allar looks much improved.
They get Ohio State at home this year. Can they do it? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So who's going to win the Texas A&M? I mean, I think we have kind of beat this win to the ground. I kind of want to enjoy it,
Yeah.
And,
well, in honor of you, I actually have Notre Dame winning this game, which shouldn't surprise anybody as much as I talk about consistency on a coaching staff. And Texas A&M has the exact opposite of that. But also, I think Riley Leonard brings an interesting element to Notre Dame. Notre Dame likes to run a lot of heavy and power sets, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. And with Riley Leonard's running ability, you add some triple option elements to that, and we've seen it. Teams that don't see the triple option on a regular basis, it gives them fits. And I think that can make Notre Dame a dangerous team this year.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Texas A&M wins, though. Gig them. I know they're fans. Like, I know that Texas A&M's a cold, weird, whatever. But I just still remember back.
You just like the cheerleaders, don't you, Alex?
Oh yeah, I love.
Hey, listen, I'll take Notre Dame cheerleaders. I'll take Notre Dame cheerleaders any day over Texas A&M air quote yell leaders.
Yeah, the yell squad.
Hey,
Zach out there in his overalls.
I'm also cheering for Texas A&M because I just remember back to that game last year, and I met so many Texas A&M Texas A&M fans at that game last year, and they were so nice. Those were honestly the nicest opposing fans I've ever met. So yeah, gig them.
Yeah, and listen, I'm with you, but I'm also kind of the opposite. Like, I've actually met some decent Notre Dame fans now that I've gotten on Twitter, and I've met a particular Notre Dame fan, or not Notre Dame, but Texas A&M fan, who may be the most annoying individual on the face of the planet.
Yeah, well, every fan base has them.
More annoying than a certain Tennessee fan?
No, not that annoying.
There's no level of annoyance. There's no level of annoyance that can meet the level of that person. But and we got Mr. Duggar. Mr. Duggar's a Texas A&M fan, so big shout out to Mr. Duggar as well.
Mr. Duggar's cool, people. Mr. Duggar is cool. He chose a life of masochism.
I guess so. And it is 6-3. Texas A&M is on top, 6-3, starting out the second quarter. I see that over here.
Fighting.
Well, how about we go watch that game, fellas?
Sounds good.
Yeah, we will go watch that game. There's a possibility. I'm not sure. I got some family in town. I'm not sure if they're coming back up or not, but there's a possibility that I might go live and talk about that game on our channel after this, later on, maybe the second half or something like that. So anybody out there that might want to check that out, definitely there's the link to Traveling Fools right there, which we do go live over there and have good times, some late night fun sometimes, trivia games, college football, a lot of travel videos, all kinds of stuff all over the place. So yeah, hit that up. Twitter at Travel and Fish, or you can just type in Traveling Fools. It'll come up. What about you, Slim? What do you got on there?
I'm on Twitter. I post pointless and ridiculous memes, and a lot of Miami and Tampa Bay stuff. And then I make my way around the YouTube college football circle.
The YouTube.
I'm a little bit everywhere.
You're never not
Man.
to be found.
Yeah, I'm not a hard person to find. I'm really not.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex? What do you got going?
I haven't really kept up with the Instagram thing because I've been busy with other stuff. So Hurricanes been
You gave up
paused
on
for
your
the last
IG
few-
modeling? You're not an Instagram
Yeah.
model anymore?
I got fat. That's the problem. But
In all the wrong
I mean,
places, right?
yeah. I mean, my butt's still big, so that's good. Maybe I can do an OnlyFans or something.
There we go.
But I mean, I'm on Twitter. My Twitter's there in my little handle name thingy. But yeah, I'm just on Twitter, either shit talking Miami Hurricane stuff or whatever sports are big at the moment. Back in the summer, hockey playoffs, I was shit about a lot of that. Mainly just memeing, pissing people off, being funny. That's it.
Well, there you go. Well, if I do decide to go live, maybe catch the second half of this game, you and Slim and definitely everybody else out there is more than welcome to come by. Of course, I'll make sure you know about that. So everybody, make sure you sub up Slim and Alex there on Twitter. Go over there and sub them up, and also make sure you check out the College Football Show with Mark Rogers Monday through Friday every morning on the Voice of College Football's main channel. Also, what else do we have to mention right here? We have the Miami Show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here on this channel, the Miami channel. Make sure you guys get in there. Mark usually has who's he had on there lately?
Cam.
Mostly Cam, sometimes Brad Taya. I mean,
Yeah.
either one of them after this big win, that's going to be must-see TV.
Yeah, that is going to be
Cam?
must-see TV. Yeah, Cam Underwood.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. Also, shout out Brad and Bo Bradbury for, tattooing that shitty ass 34th Street wall. Which also, how awful does your city have to be for a wall to be one of your landmarks? God,
A wall.
That is.
Well, listen, I've always said it, and I will stand on this. If you're going to give the United States of America an enema, Gainesville, Florida is where you stick the nozzle.
I mean, I think Brendan said it best on the pregame show. It makes Ybor City good.
Right.
It does.
It looks like a shining light.
Like, God, it looks like Paris. Well,
Hey,
Paris is
congratulations,
bad
though,
now.
Gainesville. Listen, that they've risen above Oakland, California, which may be a low bar, but you're on the rise.
Yeah, you are getting there. One last thing there. I think Mark is going live tonight as well. So join the Voice of College Football's live call-in show if you want to talk about college football and anything like that. 11:30 p.m. And I'm pretty sure that's tonight. So if anybody else wants to get like a wrap-up of what happened tonight, shoot on over there to the Voice of College Football's call-in show at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, you got anything last you want to say before we get the heck out of here?
I'm going to go over there and troll Mark whenever he goes live tonight, too.
All right. Yeah, we can all go in there. I'll go in there and troll. What about you, Alex?
I'll just log off with this. To all the Gator fans that got on here, on YouTube, Twitter, any social media in general, that talk shit for the last 8 months, kiss my Latino ass. Because you suck. You're awful. You are everything everyone says you are. And I hope you keep Billy Napier. I really hope you do. Just at least for next year, so we can whoop your ass again at Hard Rock. And we can keep whooping your ass in recruiting. Because Mario and the University of Miami owns you. And today showed why you're too chicken shit to put us back on the schedule yearly. Because this is what would happen every year. That's all I've got to say.
Oh,
There we go.
That does remind me of a nugget, and now I have Steve Spurrier, and I saved this. I have Steve Spurrier on audio and video admitting that they were going to bring back the yearly rivalry, and he didn't want the smoke.
Oh, wow.
The old ball coach.
Wow.
Who you
Couldn't
named
handle
your
the
field after. Steve Spurrier Field at Ben Hill Stadium, and he was too pussy to put us back on the schedule.
Oh man.
Hey, Gators.
That being said, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Next week, we will be right back here after the game, probably about 20, 30 minutes after the game. We will go live again. And until then, go Canes. And make sure, I like that, Alex. And make sure everybody hits that thumbs up on your way out. And go Canes. It's great to be a winner.